Good morning, rhinos. All right, like how exciting. Let's get to it. All right, so let's let everyone get in and then we'll get started. Take a look at my 1,000 emails in the meantime. Okay. All right, let's let everyone get in. Actually, I would like some water. I think I have water somewhere. So because I fill this up every day, when I come in the next morning, I never know how much is there, and apparently really nothing. Okay. What a day. All right, great showing Tuesday. Hope everyone's President's Day was absolutely amazing yesterday. Let's get into it, right? So today is the first day of our new schedule, which is really kind of like the old schedule, right? Like we're going to be doing Monday lives, 10 to 11 a.m. Today's a Tuesday because the market was closed yesterday. Cool. Also, these lives will be escorted by an email in the morning, which you would have gotten this morning. It's an active campaign is deciding to be a little bit of a nuisance this morning. So they're reviewing our account, which is fine. Last week on Wednesday, we had sent out an email. And on active campaign, I never resent email to participants that did not open. So I was like, oh, cool, they have this feature. Let's do that. Because different people open emails different times of the day, but I want to make sure that we include everyone. In doing so, I did not know if I did it correctly. So I pressed it like 2 times. And then I got support. I'm like, I don't see it anywhere. Did I accidentally send it? And they're like, oh, no, you got to press this button. So I pressed it, which meant I pressed it 3 times. So I resent a lot of emails 3 times in a row to people. And there's always that 1 or 2 people that are like, oh, okay, spam, which is fine. I understand that. I did spam you. I sent you 3 emails in 10 seconds. But Active Campaign wants to take a look at it, which is fine. They're welcome to their manual review. But unfortunately, it's taking my morning. And I don't like that because I don't have a morning to begin with. So you did not receive the email today. Hopefully you'll be receiving the emails again tomorrow, in which case we're going to highlight the number, the red and green, right? So PayPal, 14 red and green, Facebook, 13 red and green, Home Depot, 13 red and green. And when these numbers hit 16, that's usually when we start nibbling at them. Unfortunately, for our personal finances, we started nibbling at PayPal at 13 red and green. Now it's down today, but I think it's trying to break higher. But we did purchase it for a week after March expiration. So I think we have until like March 25th. It's now February 22nd, right? Our Twitter, we have till March 18th, 38. So I think the stock is now like 33, 34. Thank God we sold our 40s at a loss, but you have to be able to take a loss. This market has, so you know what, a couple of things, right? So I'm completely frustrated with this market. And the reason I'm so frustrated is because I veered from, and again, it's so funny because if you watch these videos, I've shared it 1,000 times. The thing that we're all constantly getting better at is a certain level of emotional discipline. Like we were doing so well, just 16 red and greens, 20 red and greens. Let's just stick to what we know. And then we went ahead and veered to Twitter because they had these amazing earnings. We saw the buyback that they're going to do. We saw the monetizable use, like we saw them, like we read a balance sheet, right? Like we know how to do that. And we bought it and we made 40% in 18 minutes, right? And then we saw it come back down. And we said that day that if we hope that the market opens up the next day because we saw a pullback coming. Okay. At that moment, top of the mountain. Okay. What happened? Well, there's an omnipotence that comes in that sees the market pull back that day and says, well, we believed it was going to pull back yesterday. We didn't know the magnitude of it, but a pullback today. We see Twitter back to where it was. Oh my God, we're geniuses. Let's just go ahead and do it. Let's just buy it, right? No problem. Well, that's what the market does to you. It says, okay, good. Now, boom. And we've gotten the pullback that we're looking for, but the pullback has been so precipitous. Imagine if we went ahead and took that short position and rode this whole pullback down. We'd look like geniuses. So what really happened? We bought Twitter, lost 30, 40%. We bought Twitter again, we're down like 50, 60%. We then went ahead and bought some PayPal, we're probably down 10%. It's been an I decided to wear a t-shirt today. It's been an absolute nightmare. Our account looks like Swiss cheese. Well, what do we have? We have time, right? Like for an account to go down so precipitously, it can also go up so precipitously. That's what options are. You have to be able to two things. One, have the stomach for them, but two, respect the power of them. And that's both up and down. So you cannot go ahead and allow yourself to get so down when the account's down because the options are down that you then go ahead and sell and say, oh, well, this will never go back. It could go up just as quickly, right? Like you have to understand that that's the way options move. That's not to say that you sit there and you cross your fingers and say, well, it's going to go up because I hope it's going to go back up. You have to constantly do the work, right? The reasons that you believe that it's going to go up are, do they still exist? And if they don't exist, then sell. But if they do still exist, then keep where you are. But understand your risk reward. Understand your off ramp. Our off ramp is if we're still down in these positions by Friday of this week, we're selling. Right? Well, is that really it? Is that our off ramp? Probably not. It should be. I have to think about it. It's either going to be Friday of this week or Friday of next week. Because I do want the time. I think the market is being a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Now, that's me telling the market what I think of the market, which means absolutely nothing. The market could give an SHIT what I think, right? But over the weekend, we took a look and we did a little bit of study of the market, and we saw that the volume's down 87.5% to 90% since December. That's a lot of volume, which means 90% of the participants are no longer trading. Do you think those 90%, do you think the participants that make up 90% of the market volume, right, are institutional traders, like big money management firms and big investment banks, or do you think it's mom and pop sitting at home and Robin Hooders trading? Well, it's the big banks. They've wanted nothing to do with this market. They're like, you know what, we don't really, listen, you guys do what you do. We're going to sit back. We'll let you guys kind of like skirmish over headlines, and we'll just come in and scoop it all up when it's all said and done, right? Home Depot came out with earnings this morning. They're doing a 15% increase on their dividend. They're giving their shareholders for free 15% more money every single year. Why? Because they have to do something with the money they have, and they're not going to buy bonds. They're going to either give it to their shareholders, or they're going to reinvest in their companies, or they're going to buy other stock. The corporate America is telling you exactly what they want to do. Mattel came out and they have a 5% increase in their dividend. They have all this money. They need to do something with it. So when companies have their vision and are able to see there are other companies that are undervalued or could be accretive to earnings, they're going to buy them. Now, that's also a conversation of, well, what level is that? And we don't know it, right? I can't come out here and say, well, when the stock market hits 7, that's when everyone has agreed to buy. It doesn't work like that. But there is a level because they're showing you there's a level. There's absolutely proof, 100% there's a level. It's just what the level is, right? So if you have 90% of the money sitting on the sidelines, and you have stocks buying their own stocks and stocks giving money back to shareholders and companies merging and buybacks and dividend hikes, well, at what point does that 90% say, all right, we're in, like it came down low enough, we'll scoop it all back up and boom? I don't know. I think we're very close to it though. I think we're far closer to it than we are not. And if that's the case, I really stand behind, I believe we're going to have a rip-roaring rally. And it sounds cute, but I really, really believe it. Because I've seen this 1,000 times. Here are the two outcomes that are possible at this point. And in my belief, there's only two. You're going to get a rip-roaring rally, or you're going to crash. There's only one of two. Now, the Nasdaq, I believe, is down almost 20% since its highs. The S&P is down close to 10%. You have Russia moving forces into Ukraine. First of all, you know what I learned this weekend? Do you know Kiev, right? The capital of Ukraine is the original capital of Russia, right? It was when the Mongols came in and started really messing stuff up that they lost Ukraine. I didn't know their capital is actually the capital of Mother Russia. Do you know, like a majority, the president or prime minister of Ukraine has a Russian accent? Like Ukraine actually is Russia, it's just a different country. And of course, they have their independence and it's cool, we're Ukraine, bop, bop, bop. But this only happened like what, 50, 60 years ago? There are still people that are alive long enough, and many of them that are like, no, that's ours. They got to take it from us and we want it back. Okay, who am I to go step in there and say anything? But I do know of all, see, what we're really seeing is a collapsing government. Like our president has an approval rate of like 30%. And that's by pollsters that are actually trying to approve him. Our biggest ally, Canada, is literally abusing all of their citizens, trampling them, beating the out of them, and we don't say a word about it, right? Nothing, not even a word. They're going and freezing people's bank accounts. If you went ahead and even gave money to the truckers, they're freezing your bank accounts, but nothing, not a word, right? Nothing. But over there in Russia, whose president has a 65% approval rating, all of a sudden, when they're going into Ukraine, a country that they did formerly own, and that was part of them, all of a sudden we have something to say. And it all goes back to what's the goal, right? Like, what is the politics doing? What's the president looking for? What would be the best case scenario for our president? They want a war so bad. Do you know, they want a war so bad so they could just go ahead and take the attention off anything that's going on here. In fact, I saw over the weekend, Biden and Putin agreed to have a talk, right? They were going to get together. Macron, the president of France, is going to broker it, and the futures fly. And then the next second, there's a headline. Russians have a hit list of Ukrainians that they plan to take out. And it's like, first of all, I have no faith or trust in the media at all. Like, we had a special counsel, an impeachment hearing for 3 years. That was a complete shame. So if I can't trust that is true, do you think I trust a headline? No. And what's the headline? That Russians have a hit list in Ukraine? I'm sorry, people had hate lists in school. I don't think that rises to the level of news. And who had the hit list? How did they know they had the hit list? What was the hit list? What was their ability to carry out that hit list? None of that was in the article. There's such a concerted effort to go ahead and push this war. Okay, fine. Well, what would happen if there was a war, right? And the US dragged their delusional dementia president and his toy vice president along the way? Because Kamala Harris was in Europe this weekend talking about there better be no crossing of the border, and apparently there was a crossing of the border while she was in there. Do you know how embarrassing it is to be part of the US? Let me ask you one question. It's rhetorical, you don't have to answer. Would this ever happen if President Trump was in office? Ever? Do you think Vladimir Putin would ever even think about calling bluff on President Trump? It would never happen. Crimea happened when? President Obama. Ukraine happened when? Joe Biden. What do you think? Between 2016 and 2020, they just didn't have a plan? No, they're like, we're not messing with that guy because that guy actually has a set, right? Like, he's a real president. He's going to defend his people. These guys, they're puppets and they can be bought left and right? So I don't like getting into politics, but at some point, politics is news, right? This is visually happening right in front of you. Okay, so we get pulled into this war. Okay, great. Lovely. Love it. Can't wait. Europe doesn't want any part of this. This is where they get their energy from. They want no part of it. I saw Germany went ahead and they said, listen, we're not going to approve this pipeline, whatever. I do not think that Europe is going to get pulled into it, or that they're looking at the calendar and they're like, okay, the closer we get to spring, we don't need the energy as much, and the LNG coming from the US could carry us over this much. Do you know in Germany, there's actually a government flyer, how to live without electricity? Like, these people are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. They could give an FUCK about any of the citizens. They do not care. In Europe, you don't get elected. You're given that power, right? Like, Europe is disgusting. That's all I gotta say about them. So they're not gonna go ahead and go against Russia. They're not gonna go ahead and send troops over there unless America's promising them something. What can America really promise them? I think it's that they're watching the calendar. They're like, all right, listen. If we could go ahead and stall this war to March, then we're fully on board, because then April is kind of the beginning of spring and people can hold out till May. The LNG that you're going to send in here could get us to the warm weather, fine. Does anyone see what happens to prices of things? What are the things that go up when wars announced? Go take a look. Oil is what, like $95 a barrel? Gold is what, over 1900? Does anybody want to tell me what are the two main reserves Russia has? I know if you like read the New York Times or you listen to the media, they would never, this is stuff you don't know. Do you know the items that go up during wartime or during this kind of volatility is all the things that Russia actually owns, which means all the volatility is actually padding their bottom line. Do you know Russia has an account surplus? They're not in a deficit. Do you know Russia did the work to say, you know what? Game on, come at us. Do you know Russia is friends with China? Do you think for a single second that China or Russia, either one of them like the US? Do you think Russia could actually up it a little bit more and say, hey, China, this is what's going to happen. I'll take Ukraine, you take Taiwan, and let's see the US go ahead and battle both of us at the same time. Let's see it. You know, because Joe Biden, right? Like Putin would never do that when he's in office. I want to start cursing because I'm so mad at these politicians and how disgraceful they really are, right? Could that happen? Yeah, it could happen very easily. But here's the name of the game, right? All of the things we're talking about, and I'm doing it purposely, right? Like this isn't Anthony going off the rails about politics because Anthony's opining with no thought or no plan in place. There is a plan. There is a reason. Here's the reason. This is what's in the market right now. I represent a typical market participant. The average person in the market right now is sharing the same rhetoric that I'm sharing with you. You know why? Because everything I shared with you, where did I get it from? Do you think I visited Russia? Do you think I visited China? Do you think I visited Ukraine? Do you think I visited Germany? Do you think I spoke to Kamala Harris? Do you think I spoke to Joe Biden? Do you think anything that I said was because I did my own due diligence in terms of boots on the ground? No. Everything that I'm sharing with you is because I have a history of keeping up with the headlines. Therefore, I can look at it from top down and go ahead and identify what could happen down here, right? That's the same exact thing, if not, well, actually, I don't want to give any news member that much credit. There are people that are able to say to you what I just said to you. And because they have a level of experience and they've been in tune as well. So those people are up here. They then parrot it on TV and media and their stockbrokers and they share it with people. Then those people then share it with their friends, right? So it's like a game of telephone where what I just shared with you is the first person narrative, right? The first person says, I like a ham and cheese bologna sandwich, right? That's what I shared with you. Everything in the market is some kind of perversion of what I just said to you, which means, what do you think people in the market are feeling right now? They're terrified. In fact, when I was driving in this morning, actually last night I saw the futures down 500 points. When I was driving in this morning, I thought to myself, you know what? Why am I even playing this game? Like I'm running a company, right? Like we're really. Do you know that do you know Friday the presentation I did on RHINO has had over 500 views on YouTube right now? It's a 64-minute presentation. You might say 500, and that's not really a large number. Yeah, you're right, it's not. But 500 people watching 64 minutes is a large number in terms of the sample size that we're looking at, right? Do you know that we have 16,000 email opens Friday? Do you know, as of yesterday, I think we had 14,000 emails opens and it was a 30% open rate with a 65% click-through rate. There are things that we're doing over here that are quite important. So when I was driving in today, I'm like, why do we even bother talking about this stuff? Why don't I just sell all my stock? I'll take the loss, move it over to RHINO, where everything is prosperous times a bazillion, and just work on there because that's where my focus is. That's what I thought to myself. But I've been in the market long enough to know that what that thought precedes. That thought where it becomes completely rational, that you take something that you're so good at, that you've had 20 years experience, that you actually understand what's going on, and take a wrong step that you've taken to allow the frustration to get to such a point that you take the towel and you throw it in and you give up. Because if you give up and you have the resume that you have behind you, then who's left? Who's left in the market? In fact, you're giving up because you believe there's a good chance that the market's absolutely going to crash. You believe there's a good chance the market's going to crash after it's come down 20%. You believe that the market's going to crash when 90% of the people that are participants aren't even in the market. You believe it's going to crash based on headlines and based on what all the scared mom and pops are doing with their $100 here and there. Do you think that's a good reason to throw in the towel? Logically, it's not. In fact, logically, I should take my entire bank account and throw it in the market right now. In fact, logically, I did the homework. And I believe, and I'm going to pinpoint it right now, that March 14th of this year will be the bottom the market ever sees for the rest of our time together. So if I believe March 14th is going to be the bottom, does that mean it goes lower from here? I have no idea. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But I do not think any price preceding March 14th, any low preceding March 14th will be seen again. I believe the rest of the year is going to be a rip-roaring rally. Now, Anthony, it's February 22nd. March 14th is like, I don't know, 8 plus 22 days away from. Hey, that's pretty funny. 22 days from now, 22 days from 2/22/22 is the bottom that I just called. It's like you can't make this stuff up. Well, then what do we do right now? Well, what I'm doing is I'm just going to leave everything alone, because I do not think a bottom is every stock on the same day, right? I think I think right now, if we just started the market today, we all got together today, I think we would have the most amazing performance in the world, because think about the things that we'd be buying. We'd be buying things that have already come off a whole great deal. We'd be picking through the rubble looking for the diamonds. So I don't want to make 40% on anything I buy today. I want to make 300% on anything I buy today, because I want to tell the market that I want to take this and I want to tell you where I want to put it, because the market has upset me that much. But did you hear how volatile I sound? You might think that I might want to flip a desk. I do. That's what it looks like. I cannot express that the education of this platform, it does not go unnoticed. It is the goal. It is the by design that I want to share with you exactly what I'm thinking, when I'm thinking it, so that when you feel this way, you say, you know what? I know this feeling. I've seen this feeling, and you're able to go ahead and remember what happened after this feeling. Those that have been in RHINO Wealth have seen this feeling at least 2 or 3 times over the last year. And they've seen this feeling, and you could actually go back into the RHINO Wealth Facebook group, take a look at us in February and March of last year, talking about how the circus is coming to town, how the market's going to be the best you've ever seen for the rest of the year, and that the opportunity in tech at that moment was the single best opportunity you'd ever see. You don't believe me? Go into RHINO Wealth Facebook and look it up. In fact, maybe this week I will email, God forbid I ever get email access back, maybe I'll email those videos so that you can actually see that we've been here before. So I'm not really like if I looked at my account value, I'd be mad. I am mad. But I think that only tells half the story. I forgot who said it, but things are only as important as you believe they are while you're thinking about them. I think if, like, for instance, my wife and I watch Game of Thrones, absolutely addicted to it, right? There's this guy, Jon Snow. And he has a long history behind him, but he's kind of become quite the hero. And he goes ahead and leads a band of, like they should have lost. They were about half as much as the people they were going against. And they got cornered in, and they were just like, they were over. Everything about them was over. In fact, he was under a pile of people, and he was going to die strictly by suffocation of people that died ahead of him. He was going to die not even by dying. He was going to die because his people died, and they died on top of him. That's how bad it was. And in that moment, kind of felt like what it feels like right now. Like, here goes the hero, and this is how it's going to end. And I just don't think that's the case. I think that in that moment, he probably had his life flash before his eyes. But I believe that when he was able to take himself back from that moment and realize what he had in front of him, he was able to go ahead and bring himself out of that one moment. That one moment wasn't as important as he believed it was. It was only one moment of a much larger scene. And he was then going to go ahead and continue with the scene. But if he gave up at that moment, what would have happened? Would have died. I believe that's kind of like this, right? I believe that if you go ahead and find yourself agonizing over any one moment because something bad happens in that moment, then you're able to go ahead and take that, extrapolate it out to your entire life and say, everything that I did led me to right here, absolute failure, here I am. and you go ahead and make decisions based on the belief of that assessment. That's not correct. Have perspective, remove yourself. So that's how we feel, and that's how we've always felt. And if we believe that the market was going to crash right here, then we go ahead and sell everything. But for me to believe a market's going to crash, I would have to see companies putting all of their money in government bonds. And I don't, in fact, not only do I not see that, I see the opposite of that. All right, so let's go take a look at a screen share, right? Let's see what's going on in the world of Anthony wants to take his computer and throw it out. You got the rest of the sentence. Okay. All right, so let's see what is going on in the world of stocks. And I'm talking like that because apparently I'm old English now because, whatever. All right, so the market's down 88. These futures were down 500 last night. I believe the market opened up down 125. Nasdaq's up 36, which is pretty cool. The VIX is up less than 1. It's up 3%, really. The Russell's down. Okay, cool. Nasdaq's up, S&P's up, Dow's down. Okay. Supreme Court takes up clash over Colorado's law protection same-sex weddings. Does today feel like a day where the news should be about same-sex weddings in Colorado? Or is there that little going on in the market? Is there that nothing going on in the market? Salesforce Slack is down for some users. Not for me. I just saw that I got a message. Jeremy Siegel. Jeremy Siegel, I know who Jeremy Siegel is because when I was a kid, he was in like movies, right? He was in like Dennis the Menace or something. And he is a perpetual bull. Everything is always going to go up. In fact, 90% of the time he's right because the market goes up 90% of the time. I used to work with people that would always say the market's a bull market, keep going, keep going. And they were always right because the market always goes up. That's the power of America. This is a beautiful, amazing country where anyone, if you just fight hard enough, you get what you want because you earn it. That is what people are wishing for. That is what people are having taken away from them because why not? We have an election that got taken away. And I don't really care if anyone has a bad opinion of that. Anthony said that. I'm not like a do-to-do. When someone can't even get 12 people to come to a rally, but he has the most votes ever in the history of the entire world, 10 more million than Obama, and you see what's going on, don't get me started. All right, Fed hike way more important to U.S. economy. Yeah, well, because we'll all go bankrupt. All right, Trump-backed truth. Oh, this gets me so aggravated. So my wife and I have been looking at DWAC, D-W-A-C, something media group, whatever. They own Trump's version of Twitter. Now, that was supposed to come out February 21st, which was yesterday, President's Day. And we've been watching that stock, waiting for an opportunity to get into it because we believed on President's Day, or at least the next day, the stock would really pop. Because what Truth Social did was they allowed you to reserve getting into it, which meant on the 21st, it was already downloaded onto your phone. So when you see a headline, Trump-backed Truth Social tops Apple's App Store, well, yeah, it had like a month of people reserving it. Of course it topped it. I have Truth Social right now. I didn't even know I had it, but it downloaded because I was on the list, right? So we believed it was going to be just a pop. And in the pre-market day, I think it was 105. We were talking about this since 50, 60, 70. And it actually kind of explains our Twitter fiasco a little bit. If Trump has his own version of Twitter coming out, is it conceivable that there are some people that own Twitter that would move over to DWAC, which is just a ticker symbol? Is it conceivable that some people would leave owning Twitter because they're like, let me see this play out? Now, to my detriment, I did not think it'd be that big of a deal. I do not believe Trump is going to stand behind this and demand people get into it because his life is far more valuable than that. He has aspirations that are political. He cannot be caught up doing anything business related so that the opposite party can go beat him in being a selfish billionaire, blah, blah, blah. But he will have people that, like, I'm not saying he's not backing it because he's scamming people. I'm saying he's not backing it because he just doesn't want to be associated with it in a headline. But he has a team that's running this because this is going to be his platform when he or whoever runs for re-election. Because this isn't going to censor him because, he owns it. So again, everything comes to valuation though. So what's the valuation of it? Do you own DWAC here? Should you buy it here? I've been wrong. In fact, I've been wrong by being right. we've watched it and we've both said that on February 21st, it's going to pop. Therefore, we should own it. What happened? It popped and we never owned it, right? So I'm not the person to take advice from that, but just sharing what happened. All right. So that is what this says. Okay, so let's see what's going on under the hood a little bit. Let's go take a look at the QQQs. This, I believe, is Nasdaq Volatility, right? No, that's Apple Volatility. Let's look at the Nasdaq Volatility. Okay. All right, what do we got here? Let's make sure this is, oh, come on, why does everything have to be so difficult? All right, the lines are, just want to make sure the lines are lined up. All right, so we're at the top of this, which is no coincidence because this is a resistance line. If you break over this, presumably you'll move higher, but if you bump your head on it and come down, presumably this is the line, right? This is the low in January. This is the line that everyone's looking at. This is the most important thing in the market. This will be the line that a lot of people are there buying at. And if this line breaks, there'll be a lot of people selling. It's just, this is the whole game, this line. And it is our belief that those 90% that are waiting on the sidelines, as it gets close to this line, will buy. So that is our underlining thesis, right? By the way, the market's down. This is our super duper list. Does it look like a down market? I see a lot of green there, right? Sounds like someone's trying to open my door, but whatever. Anyway. I don't know what's going on out there. Anyway. So what do we see? We see prices down and we see volume up, right? Can we say that? Okay. So that seems about fair, right? And what do we see during that time period? We see volatility up. Okay. So prices down, volume up, volatility up. Not good, right? That's kind of like as bad as it gets. What do we see today? Well, prices are up, right? Volatility, though, is up, right? That's higher. And volume looks like it'll likely be lower on the day, right? So what does that mean? Price is up, volume down, volatility up. I would think that would be actually quite bad, right? So people are buying, but they're also nervous, but there's less of them there. You want to see volatility start coming down. So if the market closed right here, right now, we would say that it probably still has a little bit lower to go, but we have to see where things shake out. So we're not blind to the fact that the market is down and is coming down. I'll tell you this, I plan on leaving my positions exactly where they are. And if this market is still down by Monday, I probably will send in new money out of my own personal checking account and savings account and moving my retirement funds over and buying more market. I just will. Like I'll buy the options maybe 2-3 months out because that's like my super duper safe money. That's my retirement money. But I see nothing in, like, I want to buy this stock market. It's just being a bit of a pest right now and it's going down, right? Like look at all this. But I don't think it breaks this line. So anyway, we're gonna have a fairly quick presentation today, but let's go ahead and take a look at the super duper list, right? So now 14, no red and green, right? So presumably this will turn red, but it's 14, no red, green. Facebook is 13 red and green. Look, it's down again. Where it got as low as 202. 13 red and green. Who wants to own some Facebook, right? As it's been going down here, you see volume going down. Facebook looks great, right? The name of the game is, does PayPal get under 100 and does Facebook get under 200? These are kind of ground zero. These are the two stocks that everyone was like in love with that everyone's been absolutely appalled and shocked and shell-shocked that they've gotten annihilated the way they have. That's the name of the game. Lowe's, 13 red, no green. Home Depot, 13 red, no green. Advanced Auto Parts, 12 red and green, right? So the point is this list is keeping in, these are the top, right? From 14 all the way down to 11 red and greens. Every day this week goes on, we're going to be sending an email updating what that list looks like. If this is an ugly week, presumably by Friday, we're going to have 18s and 17 red and greens, right? Then you just wait till Monday. And Monday, presumably, you'll have 19s and 18 red and greens. So therefore, can Monday be the buying opportunity of a lifetime, right? I don't know. I know I'm already in this. I'm in it. I'm staying in it. I have the stomach for it. If I was not in the market right now, I would take a step back and just let this week play out. We're going to keep you updated with everything that happens this week, but I can promise you that there is an opportunity coming up in the next 2 to 3 weeks that will make your year. That if you had the mental fortitude and you had the courage and you had the wherewithal to say, okay, you know what, let me grab that chunk of money. This is my moment. Here it is. That opportunity is coming up. And I don't mean to get people overly excited, but you can't. If you get caught up in all of the bad, then you can't see the good, right? All the bad precedes the good. It's darkest before dawn. And I don't mean to say that as a cute sentence. If you're scared because every stock goes down, you have to ask yourself a question. Do you believe that the market is going out of business and America is going out of business and stocks can go to zero? Or do you believe that they're going to recover, that something over the X period of time is going to allow them to recover? Because if you believe in America and if you believe stocks will recover, then what is the point that you're willing to buy? Because if you say to yourself, well, I like buying as low as possible, what does that equal? What's the definition of stocks being as low as possible? Max pessimism. What is the definition of max pessimism? Where everyone hates everything and thinks everything is garbage. What are the prices reflected at that moment as low as they're going to get? Which means by definition, the best price you can get is when you have to hold your nose and just do it. That's what we're going to do this week. We're going to monitor, like we've been so successful doing, our numbers. When we get to a 7 or an 18, red and green, we're going to just say, you know what? All in. And I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you that's what we're going to do. So that's our presentation for today. Super fun. Please be with V tonight, RHINO, 8 o'clock. Obviously, I'm praying I could send an email by then, but Zoom will remind you. I have an 11:20 call with our team and one of our largest investors where we put together a complete, well, I did put together a complete what 2022 is going to look like with projections in terms of RHINO. I am going to share that with V, who I'm going to work with today, who's going to then share it with you. So beyond 8 o'clock tonight, it's going to be of full substance. I do want to share with you, I think we have a screen share here, right? This is our RHINO coin balance sheet. 795 RHINOs. We're 5 away from 800, which would be so super cool. So we're going to get there. And just to give you an idea of what our account looks like in terms of our email account. So we went ahead and emailed 43,000 yesterday. I mean, these are really, really strong numbers. So for active campaign to have a couple of questions, I get it. We'll deal with them. But for anyone to say, well, this is a spam account, 0.04% bounce, 0.38% unsubscribes, 25% clicked, 31% opens. That's not that, right? So we're ending this early because I need to call active campaign. And like my mother always said, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. And anyone that knows me knows I'm completely not scared to be the squeaky wheel. Justin, crypto question. What do you think about, oh, I don't know. I love Justin. So let's get back onto this. Let's go take a look at crypto. Oh, please, stocks, go down to 0. Just get it out of my way. All right, so let's see. So right now, Bitcoin, I believe, is a 6 on a daily. Let's see if there's anything here, right? Or do we have any red and greens anywhere? What is this? That is ugly. So look at all the trend change bars, these green ones. And then it finally topped out and boom, 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 right? Because all the volume was in. There was just obviously some type of pump and dump. But what preceded this pump and dump? 16 red and green. In fact, we actually highlighted this stock or this crypto. Went from 1 cent to 4 cents. Why didn't we own that? That would have been lovely. Whoever did, by the way, congratulations, because we did highlight this. 16 red and green. That was on our super duper duper list. So I'm not seeing anything in crypto that is looking. Oh, Tezos, 11 red and green. That looks like fun. So let's put that in the chat. You know, I hate autocorrect. If I wanted to correct it, I would. This is a red and green. It's a 6 red and green. I guess we'll put it on the list. Why not? All you crypto people out there. DYDX. Okay. So that's crypto. Tezos looks the best of all of them. So if you're a believer in the crypto complex, Tezos should be the one that outperforms. Let's take a look at the market one final time. Now it's down 200, Nasdaq's down 17. Where it goes, nobody knows. But I really just think this is all one big game right now. All right. All right, guys, we're going to leave it there. Have so much fun. Please be on at 8 o'clock tonight. I will try to get that email out, but it will be of a lot of substance. A lot of stuff is going on. Really is. So I'll see you guys later. All right. Love you guys. Bye.